in the world these days. We hear a lot of stuff which is presented as spiritual knowledge. And Baba also in the Murli today says that in the world there are many opinions, there are many directions, there are many beliefs, many paths, so much so that as many are their mouths, that many are their opinions. So somebody would have, some idea, somebody else would have another idea. But Baba today says that God is called the truth, and Baba is giving us the true spiritual knowledge. When we say spiritual knowledge, what does it mean? The knowledge of the spirit, the knowledge of the soul, the knowledge of the soul, and the knowledge of that one who is the Supreme Soul, Baba. So that is called spiritual knowledge. But in the world, we say that it is spiritual knowledge, but then nobody tells you about the soul or the Supreme Soul, or nobody even tells you how to have yoga with the Supreme Soul. So all of these things, whatever is presented as spirituality today doesn't include the knowledge of the soul or the Supreme Soul. And how can you be spiritual without knowing the spirit? So without knowing the soul, without knowing the Supreme Soul, how can you say that you're spiritual? Because spiritual means living by the truth of the soul and the Supreme Soul. So knowing and living by that truth, that is called spirituality. So living in soul consciousness in action, knowledgeful action, that will be called spirituality. But in the world we don't know, and the behavior is pretty materialistic, and then we say we are spiritual. So Baba just points this out, and we must think about this this word that is in a lot of usage in the world, spirituality. Spirituality means living by the truth that I am a soul. So I am a spirit, and having that spiritual personality, knowing that I am a soul and living according to those characteristics, that will be called spirituality. And spirituality is not an idea, it is something that can be seen in action. Yes, that is why Baba usually talks about, people can sense your ruhaniyat. So in Hindi, Baba, in the Murli, Baba says that your ruhaniyat ke vibrations will reach everybody. So when that is translated into English, it is called the vibrations of your spirituality will reach everybody. So what does that mean? That the vibrations of your spiritual personality will reach everybody. So when we say spirituality, it means that knowing that I am a soul, knowing Baba, and then understanding that I am like Baba and living by it. And the first thing that I think is important about spirituality is that sometimes, and I remember there was this one school of thought which always talked about the soul, and they gave a lot of knowledge about the soul, but there was no mention of the Supreme Soul. And I remember when I used to read their ideas back when I was not in Gyan, I used to just, like them, but I never understood what they are talking, because in order to know the soul, you need to first know Baba. Yes, in order to know the soul, you need to know Baba first. That is why Baba says that remember me, and then you will come to be spiritual, or you will come to realize your spiritual personality. Why does Baba say that? Because you see, when we come and we are given the knowledge that a soul has 7 qualities: knowledge, purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss, and power. Yes? So, do you remember the first chapter that we were taught? So, every soul is made of 7 qualities: knowledge, purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss, and power. Okay, so we got the first chapter. Now, we can remember the 7 qualities, we can memorize the 7 qualities, but how do we understand the 7 qualities? So when we hear the word peace, what is peace? Do we even have the faintest idea about what is peace? Because in the world, we don't even know the experience of silence, let alone peace. So, even if you go to the most silent place, would be some sound of the movement of air or something or the other. But in the world, you cannot even search a place which is completely silent. And we always associate silence with peace. But is silence peace? And if silence is not peace, then what is peace? So we don't know what peace is until we know Baba, because Baba is the ocean of peace. And Baba is the ocean of peace, but he comes and talks. Yes, he comes and talks, and he communicates, and he shares the knowledge, but he's still the ocean of peace. And peace is an internal quality of the soul. So, peace is a property of the soul, wherein you can be peaceful even while you think, even while you talk, even while you work. Yes, so I remember there was this one person, and that person was into some service provision. Yes, and then that service was not provided well. So in the center, we called him, and I was talking to him, and I was telling him that, this service that you provided was not okay. So could you please correct this and that and the other? So I was just telling him the corrections I needed. And then he said that, you don't pay me, that's okay. And I value my peace of mind more than the payment. So I said, who talked about the payment? It's not about the payment. It's about the service that you're providing, and there is a problem with it. So you correct it. That's it. So he said, no, I won't be able to do that. It will be too much of a hassle. So, and I always prefer my peace of mind over this. So he kept using that word, peace. I prefer my peace of mind. I prefer my peace of mind. So I told him that what you're doing is not preferring peace of mind. What you're doing is called escapism. So you cannot escape in the name of peace of mind. And you cannot give me that lollipop that you are not paying for the service. Now, if I didn't want to pay for the service, I wouldn't ask for the service. I wouldn't go and apply for the service in the first place. I would save my money. But the thing is, I want that service. That's why I applied for it. So now you make sure that you do it. And if you can't do it, it's okay. You delegate some other person to do it. But this is not about peace of mind. So peace of mind is not when you run away from karma, or you don't do things right, and then you just shut yourself up behind some door, and then you say, I want to be alone, I want to be peaceful. That is not peace. So Baba has told us that the basic quality of the soul is peace. But when is the peace lost? When is the peace lost? The peace is lost when the soul does vikarma. And I told that brother, if you don't do the accurate karma, you cannot stay in peace. Have you seen that even if you speak one wrong word to somebody, after that you cannot sit in peace? Yes, so if you are thinking, speaking, acting in a manner which is vicious, if you are neglecting, rejecting, attaching yourself, if you are motivated by lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed in your thought, word and action, then that action will take away your peace. And Baba says that peace is an original quality of the soul. And peace is not silence. Peace is not, sitting in a quiet room. Peace is not running away from your duties, responsibilities. So peace is not something which you go and find in the jungle when you leave your home. That's not peace. So Baba gives us the knowledge and the understanding about what is peace. So what is peace? So peace is an original quality of the soul which is lost because we did vikarma. And when we again, burn our sins in Baba's remembrance and start doing actions according to Srimad, then we will come back to that internal state of peace again. And that peace will stay with us while walking, talking, eating, cooking, working, everything, you will be peaceful. You can conduct yourself peacefully, just like you did in Satyug. So in Satyug, it was not like there was no action, but you could stay peaceful in every action. So that is peace. But when we don't know Baba, so when we don't have Srimad, when Baba, we are not listening to Srimad from Baba, then can we ever understand peace? We can never understand peace. We can never understand the method to go back to peace. This is why Baba says, spirituality. Spirituality means that first you need to know yourself and Baba, and only then can you realize your spiritual qualities and you can live by them, and that will be called a spiritual life. So this is about peace. Then second, purity. And I remember, when we come to Gyan, so purity is one of the most difficult concepts to understand, because we don't know what purity is. We only know cleanliness. Yes, what do we do in the name of purity? Keeping the house clean, body clean. We don't even know how to clean the mind, let alone, creating a stage of purity by practicing purity of the body, mind, wealth, everything. So we don't know what purity is. And Baba says, there when you don't do any pap karma when you're with your body, mind and wealth, then you achieve that state of purity. So, when there is a burden of sin created through body, mind and wealth, then that purity is not there. And purity is like, the value of the soul. I think in my understanding, purity is like something that decides the worth of the soul. So a soul is only as powerful as it is pure. And if I have engaged my body, mind and wealth in doing vikarma, then my spiritual vibration is low. Then I'm not pure. So Baba says purity is not just cleaning your body in and out and just cleaning your home or wearing a white dress. That's not purity. So that is all that we know how to do in bhakti, right? But purity is achieved when you don't create any pap karma with your body, any organ of the body, or with your mind, your buddhi, or with your wealth. Then you achieve that which is called punya ka khata, and that is something that decides the worth of the soul, and that is purity. So that purity we don't understand until we know Baba, we learn from Baba. So Baba says this is spirituality. So I'm just talking about virtues right now. So even to understand virtues, we need Baba. And then Baba talks about, everything that Baba teaches us. So Baba tells us that, you the soul and I the Supreme Soul look alike. So we are both points of light. But in the world, we don't understand that. So we think that, God is a bigger point of light, or, maybe a very blinding light. So God is described in the Gita as, very sort of a blinding light, in which Arjuna couldn't, tolerate that light, and he said, just stop it, I cannot tolerate your light. So Baba says, I'm not that. I am an equally sweet star like you. So just like you are a tiny star, I am also a tiny star. And then Baba gives us the knowledge that we the souls lived in the soul world as brothers with each other and with our Father, and that is the only relationship we have with other souls. So the original relationship that we share with every soul is that of a brother. And in the soul world, just remember, so when you take a second and move your awareness to the soul world, we live in the soul world with Baba and with our fellow brother souls. And then Baba says, you come onto the stage, and here you are playing various roles, but these are just roles on the stage. Basically, every soul is your brother. Every soul is your brother. Now, just think about this piece of knowledge, just churn it. So, if let's say there are 4 Lokik brothers, so four sons of a father, and then there are 4 actors. 4 of them are actors, and they're cast in a play, right? Where in that play they have to play many roles, and in that play one is a cop and another is a thief. Okay, so in that play the cop will chase the thief and beat him down, but because that brother knows this is my brother actually, and a thief just in the play. So he will play the role but still maintain that awareness that this is my brother, and even when he beats him, he will not beat him that hard. So you see that this is the difference. So when we get consumed by the role, when we are role conscious, at that time we are not acting, we are actually creating those thoughts, feelings, emotions, and creating those sanskars. But if we just remembered that everybody is a brother soul, and this is just an act, so you are playing the role of a boss, you're playing the role of a police, you're playing the role of a mother, you're playing the role that you're playing, but basically the true relationship is everybody is a soul brother with whom you're playing the role. Then what would be the difference? The difference would be that you will prioritize the relationship and the affection more than the perfection. Yes, so even when you are playing a role, if you could just remember that everybody is a brother soul, and then you valued the relationship more than the perfection, then the perfection would also be achieved. Because with that vibration of love, everybody would be on the same page, and we would work together and achieve a perfect world also. But Baba says that because you don't remember that this is a brother soul, you only care about the work and the role. And then you see, when you know that this is a brother soul, then you have certain maryadas. So you have certain maryadas. With a brother soul, you wouldn't act out of lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed. So you will play every role, but then you know that you cannot act out of lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed with a brother's soul. Would you do that? Would you loot and cheat anybody? Would you cast an evil eye upon anybody, a criminal eye? Or would you get violent with somebody? So Baba says this knowledge that we are actually brothers playing role on the stage, this will help you. This attitude will ensure that you do not act out of vice. And especially, you see, in the world also, what is it that stops you from having a criminal eye with another person? It is that awareness that this is a brother or a sister, isn't it? So it is just that awareness, that so even the most vicious person, now it's Kali Yuga, so things are different, but still, even the most vicious person would, when they are in awareness that this is my brother or sister, they will not have a criminal eye. Yes, so Baba says the drishti is dependent on the smriti. So the awareness decides the vision. The awareness determines the perception. So if you can hold this in your awareness, and Baba says, I give you this wonderful knowledge that in fact, in truth, by design, you are all really brother souls. And you're just here on the stage acting your part, and this body is just a costume. So how can you have a criminal eye towards another brother's soul? How can you have lustful vision for another brother's soul? And you see that now Baba comes and tells us about purity. But even in the world, when we did not know Baba, we always went to an assembly and addressed it as my brothers and sisters. Yes, so then even if your spouse is sitting in that gathering, you would not say my brothers, sisters, and my wife. You would say my brothers and sisters. Why? Because somewhere, there is a memory in the soul that everybody is a brother's soul. But we say that, but we don't live by that. Just like, we use the word spirituality, but we don't understand it, that we are actually souls and we have these qualities. Similarly, we use these words, we are all brothers and sisters, but we don't understand it. And if we just understood this, that we are actually brothers and sisters, then we will be able to refrain from having a criminal eye. Our eyes would get civil. So our eyes, our vision would be free from lust. It will be free from anger. It will be free from, that desire to exploit or something else. So Baba says, you can work on your drishti by working on your awareness. And Baba says, in the world, what happened is, so he gives the example of Surdas today. And Baba says that people, aware, so there were some people in bhakti also who arrived at the understanding or the enlightenment that the eyes are the problem. Yes, so they couldn't understand that the vision is the problem or the drishti is the problem. They thought the eyes are the problem, and if I don't see, then I wouldn't see gender, I wouldn't see caste, I wouldn't see, so I wouldn't be prejudiced, I wouldn't be lustful if I didn't see. So what Surdas did is he blinded himself. So he just plugged his eyes and he blinded himself. Because he said, if I don't see, then all the problem will be solved. But Baba teaches us this wonderful truth that you don't see with your eyes, you see with your attention. Yes, you see with your drishti, you see with your perception. So Baba says, you don't have to remove your eyes, you have to change your perception. And how do you change your perception? Your perception depends on your awareness. So there is smriti, there is vritti, there is drishti. So whatever is the smriti, so whatever you hold in your awareness or consciousness is the basis of your attitude, your perception and your action. So when you hold in your awareness that all poor people are thieves. Yes, so this is one of the things many people keep in their, in their smriti, that all poor people are thieves. So whenever they see somebody who is not properly dressed or they look poor, then their attitude will be, I have to guard my, luggage, I have to take care of my belongings, I have to lock my doors because this person can steal. And his drishti is that this person can steal, because that is the awareness, that is the consciousness you are holding inside. That is the idea you're holding inside. So it is always your smriti which determines your attitude and your perception. I will tell you one incident. So there are two brothers staying in a hostel. So they are roommates. And there is this one brother and who is very frail and weak of built. So his body is very frail and weak. So, the other one, the roommate, what he does is, he will always try to use physical force on him. Whenever there is an argument, he will beat him up. So, when this brother complained to me and he said that we both come to the center and this one beats me whenever there is an argument. So I told him that, if you were married, you will end up being a wife beater. But you will not beat somebody who is strong of built by the body. So this is why you left the other roommate and you came and stayed with him. Because in your awareness, you have this idea that anybody who is physically weak can be beaten up. You use that physical force on him. And although this is a boy, in front of you, you're beating him because that's your sanskar. So if it is anybody who's frail and weak, and a woman is considered frail and weak, that's why a man, somebody who is in a physical male body, uses that physical strength over the woman. So it is all about the sanskar. And then I told him, discern this. And whenever you have this, when you have this wave of anger, just ask yourself, what is unleashing this wave of anger? It is your awareness, it is your consciousness that the one in front is weak. So whenever you see somebody weak, you have this, inner programming that you're allowed to use physical force. And then you ask yourself, what kind of a person beats the weak? So you are in Gyan, so this is not what we do. So just change this. And he told me, I don't know, when I get angry, I beat anybody up. I said, no, you wouldn't beat up anybody who is physically stronger than you. And he said, yes, Didi, I've never done that. I've never beaten up anybody physically stronger than me. I always end up beating people who are physically weaker than me. So I said, why do you do that? Because it's in your smriti. Because you have done that, you've used that physical force in the past. So it's there in your awareness, in your consciousness. And whenever you see somebody weak, your buddhi says this person can be beaten. So then you start doing it. So stop this, hold in your awareness that every soul has to be treated with respect. Every soul is God's child and they have to be treated with respect. So Baba says it is this smriti which is bringing, which is allowing you to use lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed. So it is this awareness that we are holding inside. So when we see the weak, we will resort to violence. When we'll see the opposite gender, or sometimes, if your smriti is different, the same gender, you will have that wave of lust. So all of these programmings, they are there inside. And Baba says, now I'm telling you the truth, that we are all bodiless souls. We are not defined by our gender, age, physical build, caste, religion. No. I am a soul. The person in front is a soul. That's not a woman or a man. That's not rich or poor. That's a soul. And we are brother souls who belong to that one Father. And our spiritual duty is to have love and respect for each other while playing our respective roles. So, we have to play our roles, no problem in playing the role. So the boss has to be the boss, the junior has to be the junior, but that's the role. But we do not have to cross our spiritual maryada in that. So you have to get work done, that person has to do the work, that's okay. But nobody is allowed to use lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed, because that's the spiritual maryada. You stay within your spiritual maryada and perform the role. So know that you are a soul, see that that's a soul, that's a brother's soul, stay within the maryada and then perform the role. Nobody is asking you to not perform the role, but the role has certain, while coming into the role, the consciousness has to be that of the soul. So this is something that Baba is saying, and Baba is today saying that keeping this in your awareness, that everybody is a brother's soul and we are children of Shiv Baba, this will help you to change your drishti from criminal to civil. And only when you have civil eyes can you be civilized. Yes, so we have become all uncivilized because the eyes have become very uncivil. So Baba says you have to create those civil eyes again, and by holding this in your awareness you will be able to do that. And Baba says, I am the only one who gives you the knowledge of who I am, who you are, and about your whole journey. So in the Murli today, Baba points out another important point, which is that everybody says that when a soul leaves the body, they take another body. But nobody tells you that when you leave one body, take another body, leave that body, take another body, in that process you keep losing your spiritual power and you keep moving from purity to impurity. So we did not know that it's a downward staircase. So we did not know that with every birth we are going down. So that is also something that Baba brings into our awareness, that just like any energy in motion depletes itself, similarly when the soul comes onto the stage and performs roles, then with every successive birth the soul loses its spiritual power and gradually we become absolutely impure. And then Baba tells us that only when you have yoga with me, when you listen to my knowledge, when you hold me in your remembrance, when you remember me, then I'll be able to color your smriti, your buddhi, everything in such a way that you will be able to finish your karmic burden and go back to a pure world. So this is about spirituality that Baba teaches today. Okay, Om Shanti.